Welcome back to The Price of Business. I am your host, Kevin Price, talking to you about you and your business. Going to talk real quick with John Murphy. He's with a company called Venture Management Consultants. Nothing ventured, nothing gained. I love that. That's a great adage. How are you, John?
Yeah, I'm real good. Thanks, Kevin.
What's that?
I said I'm real good. Thank you. Yeah.
Oh, great. Hey, a little bit about kind of to give us the elevator speech. Tell us what your company is all about.
Well, you know what? I started Venture Management Consultants in 1988, actually experiencing a layoff myself. And it's a company that specializes in helping organizations achieve peak levels of performance in a lean, Six Sigma, and very inspiring and empowering kind of way. So it's all about culture change and bringing out the very best in people. It's been 26 years of fascination for me.
Yeah, very interesting. Tell us a little bit about the size and types of businesses you work with.
Well, I've worked with the U.S. military, the Navy. I've worked with the major pharma companies, probably 8 of the top 10 pharma companies in the world. I've worked with automotive. I've worked with aerospace, GE, Allied Signal. I've even done some training with the CIA. So I work with organizations large and small, startups as well, and anyone that's really just trying to team up a group of people and really bring out the most in them. It's really all about teamwork.
So you talk about, well, let me ask you a little bit about the organization before I get into this Zentrepreneur concept. You tell me a little bit about the size of your organization and really how many clients does your firm work with at any one time and that type of thing?
Well, typically I only work with anywhere from 1 to 5 clients at a time because I personally immerse myself into the culture. So I'm working right now with a company with 50,000 people, a major U.S. corporation with a global presence. And then I bring in consultants. My company is an actual virtual network. So I'm linked up with university professors, best-selling authors, retired military generals and leaders, and I pull in what I need for the client when I need it. So it's a very lean, very virtual structure and business model, which we bring in the best that we can find based on what the clients need. So I'm working with one company right now. I've been working with them full-time through this year and half of last year, and they plucked me out of a company I was working with up in Canada for 15 months and just finishing up with. So I like it that way because that way I can lead from the inside out.
Yeah, very good. Tell us about this Zentrepreneur idea.
Yeah. Zentrepreneur is one of my 18 books, and I wrote it because I run a lot of Kaizen events. Kaizen is a Japanese word that basically translates into good change. And a Kaizen event is where we make good change in 3 or 4 or 5 days that some companies have struggled with for 9 months, 10 months, a year or more. So we bring together a team of people, and we get major change done in a week. Quite mind-blowing, and that's putting together. Kaizen, the word, means to take apart, kai, and make better, zen. So I got the idea for Zentrepreneur because I am a very spiritual person, and I like to bring presence and balance and grace and harmony to the businesses I work with, which is very zen-like. And I'm an entrepreneur. I've started companies since I was 15 years old and built them. And so I take good ideas, the Zen, and manifest them into realities, the entrepreneur. And I teach how to do that in the book Zentrepreneur. So it's a book about how to lead great change.
Is that your most recent book?
It is, yep.
Yeah. Interesting. So you said you wrote, I think you mentioned 15 books?
I've actually 18 published, 17 still in print. Yeah, so...
Awesome.
I've been busy.
What would you say is the biggest resistance you get when you begin to work with a client?
Well, there's always some degree of skepticism, and I accept that. In fact, I expect it, because here comes another change agent, here comes another consultant, and, been there, done that. In fact, so often new words are slapped onto old behaviors, and nothing's really changing. So, Kaizen, for example, a relatively new word to a lot of people. When they start running Kaizen events, the first question I'm going to ask them at the end of the week is, what did you actually change? And if they tell me, well, we didn't change anything yet, but we came up with a whole bunch of ideas, then I'm quick to tell them that's called a meeting. That's not a Kaizen.
Yeah.
And, Kaizen is about action and about making things different immediately, and it's really so you don't want to slap an old word on something, a new word on something old, because that just dilutes the whole thing. So it's typical for people to be skeptical and afraid a little bit, but through the education I do and the simulations I run with teams, it's a form of awakening.
Yeah, in that same vein, I guess you could say, you talk about a causal circle, and elaborate on that.
Yeah, it's a causal circle is something where you
causal circle. Sorry, yes, it's too early for me still, but go right ahead.
Yeah, it's a cause and effect analysis tool. So what you're doing is you're identifying undesirable effects, what we call UDIs, the ugly babies, so to speak. These are the things that are going on that no one really wants to own, but they're happening. So we identify those, and they have to be factual and specific and measurable. So it's our cycle times take 10 days when they should take 10 hours, or our yields are 50% when they should be 99%. Right first time, things like that. Those UDIs, you list out like the top 10 or 12 UDIs, arrange them in the form of a circle, and then what you're looking for is, are there one or two, or maybe three UDIs that are actually causing the other 7, 8, or 10? And because what we're looking for there are, the critical few, but what I call the leverage points. Because if we can find a true leverage point and make change at that level, it's significant. And so one change, one project, one Kaizen event could eliminate 5, 10 UDIs, undesirable effects.
Wow. Okay, that's an interesting note. We're going to have to end on that. I encourage people to learn more about what you do at venturemanagementconsultants.com, venturemanagementconsultants.com. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you. I appreciate it, Captain. Cheers.
When we come back, much more for you. I do want to remind you, best content here shows up over there at usdailyreview.com. Also need to mention that this show is brought to you in part by our good friends at Cornerstone Business Academy. I am Kevin Price. This is The Price of Business.